Hello everybody, today we're going to be remaking Kanye West's On Sight from his album Yeezus. It's real simple, hardest part's recreating the two synthesizers, and to do that we'll be using Serum. So let me open it up here. As you can see, all we got to do is initialize a preset, go to Analog dB Sign, select that wave, it should be right under Analog, as you can see. The unison's going to be 1, and you're not going to edit the detune. Essentially, this is just one wave playing, no unison, no chorus acting on it, no effects as of right now. It's just going to sound like a single whole tone. On top of that, you're going to go to Basic Shapes, and then you're going to turn the blend. On top of that, you're going to go to Basic Shapes, and you're going to turn the position to 4 until you get this square wave shape right here. The unison's going to be the same as the sine wave, so it'll be one constant tone playing. And then you're going to link the B warp on FMA mode to this LFO, which we will get back to in a minute. You're also going to layer the J106 noise on top of it, which should be under the analog section. And you're going to enable retrigger instead of it being a one-shot. Finally, we'll get onto the LFO here. You're going to enable retrig for it as well. And I made a shape like this. You can really do whatever you want. It's just to add a little bit of variation so it doesn't sound like a constant buzzing noise. It sounds more lively, like the actual distorted synth used across the original track. And then I've got the rate set to 1/2. And I also linked this top point here to a second LFO that looks a little like this, similar to the first one, but a lot shorter, so it's a less abrupt change. And all it does is this right here. So it makes the first LFO vary a tiny bit. That way it sounds a little more different and inconsistent through the track. And on that, I actually have it set to a rate of 0.7 hertz. I wanted to vary it a bit, and instead of making it perfectly on beat, I wanted it to switch up the first LFO throughout the track. The envelope stays the same, and everything else about the preset stays the same until you get over to effects, and I just added a compressor and distortion. The multiband compressor is set pretty much on the default settings. I just brought the threshold down a bit to negative 13.5. We've got the distortion set to tube. We've got the filter off, and then the drive turned up to 81%. And you could even go higher, but I wouldn't drive it all the way to 100. The mix for the compressor is at 100%, and the mix for the distortion is at 84%. And then I've also got a second instance of that same synthesizer here. The only difference is, rather than the warp on this second Basic Shapes wave being dictated by the LFO, it's actually connected to an automation clip in FL Studio to make it sound like this. As opposed to this. Then we also have this synthesizer right here, which is the second synth used throughout the song. So essentially, all you want to do is go under your waves, go to Analog, and open the DS2 acid wave. And this will be the whole preset pretty much. You're going to turn the unison up to 5 and turn the detune up a little bit. I've got mine set to 0.16. The envelope will stay the same. You'll want to change the LFO to an envelope as well and make a shape about like this, and then set the rate to around 1/8. And you're going to link this to the cutoff filter for this filter you're about to make right here. So you want to go to Filter A, select MG low 12, bring the cutoff to about 3644 hertz, and then set your link ratio here, this little blue circle, to around negative 37%. And then you're going to want to enable this sub bass, this sub oscillator here, and bring the octave down to about -4, -3, and I'll show you how much of a difference that really makes. That's without the sub oscillator on, and this is with the sub oscillator enabled. And then of course you just want to add some distortion to this. I've actually got the filter enabled on it. I've got the frequency at 943 and the Q just at 1. It's set to tube like the other distortion. And then the drive is up to 100%. And the mix is at 86% this time. You could go a little bit above that if you wanted, but I picked this number because why not? Everything else about the preset's just about the same as the initialized one, so we'll be moving on. The other instruments, I just relied on Garatam Personal Orchestra. We've got a pipe organ preset here, which is just the default pipe organ preset offered in the plugin. We've got a strings preset. It's set to full string sustained short. And then we've got a tuba preset, and we've got Omnisphere open here. And we just have the choir full swell O's open. And then last but not least, under the brass section here, we're also using Contact 7's sensual saxophone preset with these basic notes. And then we've got the drums. So we've got this snare right here, a real industrial loud sounding snare, a lot of distortion on it. And then we've got a snare clap to use as well. One kick. And I've boosted that, as you can see, and enabled clipping in the pre-computed effects. That way it's not distorting or overpowering your mix, but you still have that loud thumping noise. And then we've got some hats on here too, which is actually just the Attack Hat 1 preset used in FL Studio. And on to the composition. This first synth here plays throughout the whole track pretty much, which is a variation between the one controlled by FL Studio's automation and the envelope and Serum. And it's simply A3, 4, and 5 played throughout the whole track. The automation gives it that life. It doesn't sound like the exact same note because the frequency's changing. We've got this synthesizer here, which plays these notes. On the hook, we've got a keyboard here, which is the pipe organ. We've got strings that play pretty similar notes. We've got the Omnisphere choir set up here that plays the exact same notes as the pipe organ. And then we've got a brass section, which consists of the tuba preset, and the saxophone in Contact 7. Together, the hook sounds like this. And right here at the end, the synthesizers just come back in and distort the whole track. Then you have the drum pattern. You've got the snare here. And this right here is the big room snare, which is really distorted. And then you've got the snare clap used, which actually varies on pitch, kind of like modern trap beats. You've got a real basic kick pattern and a real basic hi-hat pattern for this loop here. Altogether, the beat sounds like this, and I'll let the full thing play. Only thing used in the mixing channel right now is the Hot Coffee EQ on my beat bus, as well as Fruity Soft Clipper, just to make sure the track's not distorting through the speakers. Alright, and that's the remix for you. If you all enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell, because what the hell. Also, leave a like and drop a hype. It really helps out the channel. I'll include two short links in the description for remakes on those synthesizers I did for this track. They're the same shorts I watched to remake the synthesizers, so shout out to those people in the description, and that'll be all. If I don't see you next time, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.